My bitch drive a all white rank. Couldn't hit it if you niggas had aim. Lanes can't call and you lame. You had it, then you lost it, all the shame. I can buy a Billy, don't talk to me. For a show 150, don't talk to me.
The Most Improved Player of the Year, aka the Late Bloomer Award, is an award that goes to the player that improves the most from the previous season. And this year, there have been a lot of players that have improved from the previous season. I mean, you got players such as Buddy Hield, Derrick Rose, and Montrezl Harrell, who in my opinion, even though they're not on this list, I definitely think they've improved their games to help the team win, and to not only help the team win, but to help their careers. For Derrick Rose's case, he prolonged his career. Also for someone like Montrezl Harrell, a guy who was traded from the Rockets, who was viewed as an afterthought in that trade, but now has improved to a player that is a legit candidate for the Sixth Man of the Year. I mean, he's coming off the bench, and he's not just a candidate for Sixth Man, but he's also improved and put himself in the conversation with Most Improved. And Buddy Hield, what can I say about Buddy Hield that you cannot apply to Derrick Rose and Montrezl Harrell? I mean, he was viewed as a bust after his rookie year, but he's improved himself year after year to get to the point where he's putting up really solid numbers on a team that could potentially make the playoffs. And now he's viewed as one of the better two guards in the NBA. So I definitely think the Buddy Hield story is something that we should all look at and just applaud, because he has definitely come up. But as all those players have improved, there are three players that stand out to me in particular that I really think could win the award for the Most Improved Player of the 2019 NBA season. But without further ado, if you guys have not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Also hit the bell to be notified after each and every video that I post. Drop a like down below, and if you think I left any candidates or you think I was right or wrong, let me know in the comment section down below. And make sure you guys follow me on Twitter. I don't know how many times I gotta stress that, but follow me on Twitter. And I will be doing a giveaway soon, but in order to be in the giveaway, you must be subscribed and you must be following me on Twitter. So make sure you guys do those two things, because I will be letting the giveaway out of the bag pretty soon. So you guys make sure you do that. So without further ado, let's get on with this video, because the first candidate that we want to discuss is Pascal Siakam, because Siakam has been a phenomenal player this year. I think he has definitely improved this year. He has shown that he is not just a bench player, he can be a legitimate starter. Now, sure, he was thrust into the starting lineup probably a bit unexpected, and some people didn't really know what he was going to be this year, but he has definitely stepped up in comparison to last year. I know some people are going to say minutes and minutes, but his game itself is not the same as it used to be. I mean, last year he wasn't really much of a threat behind the three-point line, but this year he's shooting around 37% and making around one of them a game. So he has definitely improved in that area. But when you look at his entire stat line, pace by pace, it is completely different. He went from 7 points to 16 points, from just under 5 rebounds to 7 rebounds, 2 assists to 3 assists. The steals are at 1, while shooting 55% from the field in comparison to 51% last year, 22%, like I said before, from 3 to now 37%. And even from the free throw line, it went from 62% to 78%. And defensively, he has definitely stepped up. I think he has definitely improved his game on ball. That's something that I really didn't find very surprising, because I did think he could move his feet, but he has moved his feet better, especially in pick and roll situations. He's not some elite rim protector or anything, but I definitely think he's not some liability. He can defend the paint in a pretty solid way, in my opinion. And Siakam, he has definitely shown improvements on both sides of the ball. And when you consider the fact that the Toronto Raptors are probably going to win over 55 games, if not just about 55 games, and they are the second best team in the Eastern Conference right now, you gotta show him some love, because these are just not some empty stats. That's something that a lot of people need to understand. None of these candidates that I'm going to mention, none of these three are putting up empty stats. They're doing it on either playoff teams or playoff contending teams. So I definitely think that's something that you have to consider in this award, because empty stats, I'm sorry, that's just probably not going to cut it. And Siakam, he is doing so. He is putting up great numbers on good shooting splits, and sure, he does share the ball with Kyle Lowry and Kawhi Leonard, but his emergence has elevated them to elite level status. If you remove him from that team, they without question are not making the NBA Finals. So all those people that are trying to undermine his value, I don't even want to hear it, because he has improved. He stepped up. They gave him an opportunity and he took the ball and ran with it. So you got to show him the love that he deserves. And I definitely think he is a most improved candidate, but I don't think he is going to win it because, for one, like I said, he is viewed as the third option. And the next two guys that I'm going to talk about are the first option or are ball handlers. So it's a little bit easier for them to score, or it's better. They're viewed in a different limelight than someone who's the third option. It's like comparing a John Wall to a Klay Thompson. Sure, you could say Klay's better than John Wall, but let's be real, some people are going to view John Wall better because he's the first option, and they view them in two different limelights. They have two different responsibilities and they're on two different rosters and systems, so you definitely have to look at that. And because of that, I think Siakam will not win the award, but he is definitely a candidate. The next candidate that we are going to talk about who could potentially win this award is De'Aaron Fox, because De'Aaron Fox this year has improved immensely, and I've already talked about De'Aaron Fox, so if you haven't seen that video, you go check it out. And the biggest thing about De'Aaron Fox, really, it's not just his field goal percentage that's gone up, it's not just the assists that have gone up, it's not just the points going from 12 points to 17 points or the turnovers staying basically the same and the assists nearly doubling. It's not just that, it's the fact that his three-point shooting has elevated this Sacramento Kings team to elite level status in some situations. Obviously, they're not some elite level team. When you look at some of the numbers, they're among some of the better teams in the league when it comes to some of their numbers, especially in the fourth quarter, because De'Aaron Fox comes up big in crunch time. He's a very clutch player. Shout out to De'Aaron Fox, because in the fourth quarter he steps up. But like I said, his three-point shooting has helped this team. He is shooting nearly 37% from three in comparison to below 31% last year on over 2 attempts. And this year, when you look at the beginning, he was white hot from three. He was shooting around 40-something%. Obviously, he's cooled down and he's not attempting that many. He's shooting around 3 a game, but you still gotta show him the credit that he deserves, because he has opened up this offense. He's not only made things easier for Buddy Hield, but he's made things easier for everyone else. Marvin Bagley has some more space to operate. You also have Willie Cauley-Stein, who has more space to operate in the paint. And sure, that's probably going to be a little bit of a problem because both of them are clogging that lane, and they may have to make a decision on Willie Cauley-Stein, and Marvin Bagley is going to have to probably shoot more threes or some mid-range jumpers or stuff like that. But right now, that is not something that they should really be focused on, because they are a young team. They're inexperienced in the playoffs, and hopefully they make it to the playoffs, because I really do want to see a Kings versus Warriors matchup in the first round, or even a Kings versus Nuggets matchup in the first round. I think that would be very entertaining. And De'Aaron Fox, he has showed up in the big moments. He showed up against the Warriors. He's shown up against teams like the Nuggets. He's shown up against all the elite level teams, or all the teams that he just needs to do that to. So I definitely think De'Aaron Fox should be in the conversation for most improved. And honestly, another thing about him that a lot of people need to understand, he is leading a team to a playoff berth, or at least he has the potential to lead a team to a playoff berth. That is a huge deal from a second-year player that is 21 years of age. That's a huge deal. Yes, you could say Buddy Hield's averaging more points, but De'Aaron Fox is clearly the main guy. He's the face of that franchise, and going forward, he has definitely solidified that. And honestly, another thing about him that we have not discussed is his impact on both sides of the ball. He is playing both sides of the ball. He is definitely the best defender on this team. I mean, Buddy Hield's not much of a defender, so that leaves De'Aaron Fox with the best perimeter assignment on the opposing team. So I definitely think that when it comes to that, De'Aaron Fox has definitely shown improvement. You can see it in the amount of steals, and steals are not just everything. You can just see it in the games. He is playing perimeter defense, not at an elite level, but I definitely can see it happening one day, because he has shown immense improvement on that side of the ball. I mean, they don't just call him Swiper the Fox for nothing. So I definitely like De'Aaron Fox. I like the future, I like the upside, and this year he's showing that, because he was on that borderline bust potential after last season's disappointment, because last year I was not really impressed. And it's really not just about his play in terms of scoring the ball, it's about the three-point shooting. The three-point ability has really opened up not just his game, but the whole team's game. It's affected the whole entire offense, and it has especially helped players such as Buddy Hield, even Bagley in his rookie year. And I think that impact alone puts him in the conversation for most improved. But like I said, putting you in the conversation does not mean you're going to win the award, and that leads to my pick for the most improved player of the year this season. I gotta go with the guy that I've also already talked about, and that is D'Angelo Russell. Because D'Angelo Russell has really opened my eyes, because I did not see this coming at all. Don't get me wrong, it's not like I thought D'Angelo Russell was going to be some trash player, but I didn't really think he was going to be anything special, because D'Angelo Russell in Los Angeles, let's be real, he was very unimpressive. Nothing stood out in any type of superstardom, in my personal opinion. I mean, whether it was his rookie year where he turned the ball over just as many times nearly as he got assists, the next year where he shot below 41% from the field, and then in Brooklyn when he was traded. His first year in Brooklyn last season, very disappointing. 15 points, 5 assists, but 3 turnovers, and shot 41% from the field. And for a guy that was touted to be a great 3-point shooter coming into the league, he was shooting league average up until last season, where he even shot below that and shot 32% on less than 6 attempts. So I definitely think that was very disappointing. And even his free throw percentage, that was a bit low, and it was lower than the year previous, as he shot 74%, and the year before that in LA he shot 78%, so that even took a dip. And he was even projected to be some elite level passer. I still have not seen that, even though this year he has ramped that up to around 7 assists a game, which is very good for someone like him. But let's be honest, he has not been the elite level passer that a lot of people have projected him to be coming out of college. But this year, as a scorer, he has definitely shown improvement, because this year he's averaging just under 21 points in comparison to around 16 last year, 7 assists, 4 rebounds, 1 steal, while shooting 44 to 43% from the field, around 37% from 3 on nearly 8 attempts, I should add, and also is shooting 83% from the free throw line. And also, I should add this as well, from the mid-range, D'Angelo Russell is on fire right now. He is shooting phenomenal from the mid-range. He is keeping that mid-range game alive in his game. Now, obviously, he's going to have to still shoot some threes, because the mid-range game can really only get you so far. We saw that in DeMar DeRozan, and he is abusing that pick and roll. I mean, when players don't close in on him, he shoots a 3. And when they do, he just takes it in and shoots a mid-range jumper. He's, realistically speaking, right now, unguardable. And what I think is the most impressive thing about this is because I saw D'Angelo Russell as a player that can make a few all-star games, and sure, he did make the all-star game this year because Oladipo got hurt, but it's still a nice feat for him to tuck in his pocket. I mean, just to show him some appreciation. He's had a solid season, and he got awarded with an all-star appearance, even though it was in spite because Victor Oladipo did get hurt. Still, it's a nice accomplishment for someone like D'Angelo Russell, who people gave up on, including myself. I saw him as a guy who's just going to put up empty stats and make a few all-star games doing so, but he is leading this Brooklyn Nets team to a playoff berth. I think they're going to make the playoffs, and if you had told me going into this season that the Nets would make the playoffs as a potential 6th or 7th seed in the Eastern Conference, and D'Angelo Russell would be an all-star with these kind of numbers on this kind of efficiency, I would have said you're smoking Amber Rose, because that would have just made no absolute sense coming into this season. But he has not only exceeded expectations, but he's helped the Brooklyn Nets exceed their expectations as well. And don't get me wrong, Jared Allen has stepped up. Caris LeVert in the beginning of the season, he was on a tear, and now that he's back, hopefully he can keep that up. You also have the play of Spencer Dinwiddie. I mean, there are numerous players on this team stepping up, but D'Angelo Russell is without question their leader, and he is their best player, and he is leading this roster to a playoff berth. That is something that we did not expect the Brooklyn Nets to do probably for the next 10 years, because that organization has been so trash and so awful over the past 5 to 10 seasons. And honestly, I definitely think D'Angelo Russell is the biggest part for why they're back now. As for anybody else that's been involved, if not, he is the biggest reason why they're back now. So I definitely think that he is the pick for the most improved player this year. And the story is just, well, I mean, a guy who was traded and given up on by the best franchise in the history of the NBA, had so many expectations on him. We lowered the expectations, and he exceeded them and put himself back in the conversation of a guy who has the potential to be one of the better players and one of the better point guards in the NBA. And in this era of point guards, some of them got to make their mark, because a lot of them are going to be forgotten if they don't make their mark. And D'Angelo Russell, he's starting his path to success, and he's making his mark. So I definitely think he is the candidate, and most likely, and should win the most improved Player of the Year. But you guys in the comment section, y'all let me know. Do you think D'Angelo should win it? Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, you guys, subscribe, hit the bell, follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. Social media links are down below in the description box. And you guys, make sure you do follow me on Twitter and stay tuned to the channel because the giveaway will be announced sooner rather than later. So without further ado, y'all have a great day. I'm out. Peace.